You know the deal by now. This is episode 3. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, be sure to check those out and stay updated with our progress. But if you want to catch more of these actions and behind the scenes of our recordings, be sure to check us out at Twitch. The link is on the screen right now. Enjoy the video. Council is one of the most important buildings in the game. uh, I would argue till Space Age, it is one of the most important and one of the most affecting building in the game. But even after Space Age, when Museum unlocks, it still is very relevant in the late game. And so, if a building is relevant throughout the ages, it's best if we can actually get over and understand it so that we can use it to our advantage. And that is the council building. So, there are a few things in council buildings that we want to go over. The first is, how do you get counselors? So every day you go to the recruit section and you can claim four standard recruitments of four standard cards. They can be anywhere from greens, from grays to or like oranges or goldens. Uh, Usually it will be all grays, but as you saw, I got two greens, which is decent. Some which is decent, so that's nice. uh yeah, that is one way to get counselors. The other way is through fusion. Now fusion is basically you take three cards and you fuse them together to get a probability of getting a card of a higher rarity. So for example, right now we have Charlotte, Leonidas and Queen. We have them duplicate. So what we can do is we can take these three cards and we can fuse them together. So when you fuse them, you take those three cards, you reduce it to one. Now there's a chance that I can get a card of the same rarity, or I can get an upgrade to the next rarity. So if we skip, as you can see, I fused three grays and I got a green. Now green is the second step. If you go here, the grays are the commons, then you have uncommons, then you have rares, epics, followed by legendaries. Uh, and the way they are worked is, for grace, for example, only the first line. Let's actually take someone whose name I can read, Cleopatra. So Cleopatra, the first line that says range infantry damage, that is the only active boost we have. If we go over to uncommons, wait, I don't have any Cleopatras. Let's actually then take Eric, because I have Eric. I don't have Eric at all. What all uncommons do I have? Okay, I have Leonidas. We can talk about Leonidas. So Leonidas, as you can see, the first line which says defender hit points 5%, that is the only active line for a gray Leonidas or an uncommon Leonidas. If we go to common Leonidas, if we go to uncommon Leonidas, it has two lines. One, defender HP, which is plus 6%, and defender spawn time, which is minus 8%. As you can see, the stat on the first line increased, and the second line also opened up as we went up a rarity. Similarly, when you go to the rares, there will be three lines which are opened: defender hit points, defender spawn time, and invading general's damage. And also defender hit points, defender spawn time, the base stats has increased. So the higher rarity you go, the better the cards get. If we can go over to goldens, as you can see, a golden Leonidas gives 12% defender hit points, minus 16% defender spawn time, minus 12% invading general damage, 18% general damage, and 12% defensive missile silo damage. So as you can see, the higher the rarity of a card, the better the card is. So that is the second way that you can get better counselors, is through fusion. Now here's the thing with fusion, it's not a guarantee that you will always get a card of the better rarity. Most of the times it would be a card of the same rarity, but in some cases, like I got lucky in my first ever fusion, and I got a counselor of the next rarity. You might not get lucky, and that is one of the reasons why The council is a very RNG or random number generation dependent, because you can end up not getting any +1 rarities for a long time, or you can just get it in the first try. uh, yeah, that is about daily recruitments. That is about fusion. Just because we are on the topic of daily recruitments, as you can see here, there are premium recruitments, superior recruitments, and also if you go over to Marco Polo, there is a legendary recruitment. The thing is, all these three are not worth your crowns. These, they say legendary, but it's just a marketing gimmick, because if you look at the rates, it's 69% uncommon, 28% rares. Legendary, it's 0.2%, like less than 1% chance of ever getting a legendary. So even though it is called a legendary recruitment, at the end of the day, it's an uncommon recruitment, and that is not worth the price point of 500 crowns. That being said, there is one singular recruitment, the mythical recruitment, which is 100% worth it. The only problem is you cannot buy it. The only way to achieve it is through collections. If you go far enough, I believe the 150 collection is a mythical recruitment. Now, the thing with mythical recruitment is, if you look at the rates, it has 75.3% chance that it's an epic and 24.6% chance that it's a legendary. So every single card is a guaranteed epic, if not a legendary. If you can get as high as 155, you will get a mythical recruitment times 11. Here you will have 11 different cards, and this by far is the biggest game changer when it comes to council. So your end game goal is to reach 155 counselors milestone and unlock the mythical recruitments. That will change your council game forever. And how do you get to 155? As you can see, I'm already at 20, so it's not that hard to achieve. All you have to do is recruit as many cards as possible, use any and all duplicate cards that you had. For example, as you saw, I had 3 duplicate cards, the Charlotte, I believe it was Leonidas, and the Queen, and we fused them together to get a card of higher rarity. Yeah, you do those fusions and you keep doing it, and after a while, it will take time, but sooner than later you will reach the 155 uh, counselor milestone. When it was introduced, it was very hard because you needed to have every single card in game to reach 155 counselors, but they have been adding a counselor every month now, and because of that, reaching 155 is fairly easy if you are active in game and if you are uh, recruiting daily. And also, in a lot of these events which they run, they give these free recruitments, so it's not that difficult to get uh, counselors these days. As you can see in my inventory, I have like 56 and 64, around 64 cards which I have in my inventory, which I simply haven't even opened. So it's not that hard to get it. It's just all you need is patience, and then you'll get it. Right. That is daily recruitments. We have talked about fusion. We have talked about the mythical rewards. Now let's talk about the boosts. So a council has 2 separate boosts. One is a normal counselor boost. So for example, as you can see, I can appoint 3 different counselors. We'll go Leonidas. This gives defender hit points and defender spawn time, not something that we want. We can go to uncommon, heavy infantry attack speed. That is something we definitely want. Then we can go to Robert. who gives range infantry damage and wall hit points. We don't really want it either. So we can go to commons. This gives mercenary damage. Cleopatra gives range infantry, supply cart, mortar. I believe we appoint this general, sorry, this counselor. So this is one way to do it, is to individual counselors, where you look at in every single counselor's boost and every single, one second. Yeah. So one way to do it is to go through individual counselors, see what boost they provide, and based on that boost, pick which counselor you want in your roster or in your council. Like the way I did. The other way to do it is to go through committees. Now, committees is a very interesting uh, concept. You don't really have to use committees, but so, and most of my committees are still locked because I don't have a counselor. But I have Robert Bruce, so we can go over this. So, in a committee, the main counselor, so for example, this is Bruce's guardians, which means this is Robert Bruce's community. So you need to have Robert Bruce appointed uh, in the committee to actually get this community or to get the committee boost. Once you have Robert Bruce, you also need like some subordinates or some other counselors which complement Robert. So for example, uh, let's actually clear out everyone so that we can go over it again. Yeah. So let's just say I want Robert Bruce's committee bonus, which gives me heavy cavalry damage, heavy cavalry attack speed, assault vehicle attack speed, and mercenary damage and HP. We go to Robert, we appoint Robert because it's his committee, so he needs to be active. Now, let's appoint one leader. Let's just go Joan of Arc. As you can see, the first line has a star colored beside it. That means that the first line is active. The second line that does not have a star basically means that the second line is not yet active. To activate that line, I have to appoint a separate leader. Let's just appoint this leader. Now you can see there's a star beside both the lines, which means both the lines are active, and both the lines, if I go to active benefits, will show up here. So heavy cavalry and assault vehicle attack speed and mercenary damage and HP 5%. Now, uh, another good thing about committee is the last line, which is separated by the three dots, if you can see. The last line the values of the last line can be changed based on the rarity of cards there are. So for example, in this committee we have two greens and one gray. So the lowest card, because it's a gray card, it takes the common value, which is 5. If we had, say, a green card, a green leader, we don't have any, but let's just say if we had a green leader, it would jump to 8%. If we had all the three councils as blue, it would jump to rare, and then to epic, and then to legendary, depending on what the rarity of the card that is used. Now, it is important to remember that it is based on the lowest rarity in that entire committee. So you can have two legendary committees, but if the third card is a common one, it would still take the common value of 5%. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. That said, in early games, I would recommend to not mess around with um, committees too much, because committees is something which you would start using once you get to like higher ages, and it's more of a playstyle thing rather than a subjective thing. So objective thing. So it's better to stay true to one kind of boosting and forget the rest, at least till you have a lot of counselors to mess around. For example, in your multiplayer council, Noble's Academy, this is a useless one because, quite frankly, defense is not something which is appreciated or which is really worth it when you are talking about multiplayer. Miyamoto's Council, the first line, Dominations bonus resources, is good. The other two, not so much. Similarly, House of Thou, all the three are pretty much not really good. Same thing with Bruce's. Neither of them are actually decent. They can be decent for some time, but in the long run, you want to have Washington's Revolution because it gives barrack troop damage and all enemy towers explode on destruction. These two are very important and very good lines, and you want to have them. But you cannot have them. Right now, I cannot have them because I don't have a Washington, or I don't even have any revolutionary uh, like claimed so far. So it's better that we go with the individual boost like we did earlier. We know Charlotte gives enemy wall hit points, which is good. We know Joan of Arc gives heavy infantry attack speed and heavy infantry damage, which are amazing. And then we can end up with this guy who gives mercenary damage 5%. So that for now is council. Choose individual counselors that give the best boost, appoint them, know what committee is, but uh, until you have a lot of cards and lot of cards of different rarities, don't mess around with committees a lot. Just go for individual boost. Once you have received 120, 130 cards, you have a lot of cards of different varieties. Even if you have 155 and have reached the mythical recruitments and have a lot of epics and some legendaries, at that point you can start about thinking of using committees. Before that, I would recommend to go for individual boosts. So that is counsel for you.